this was a long time coming. Yanderedev has attempted to sabotage my game Heartstrings, a Yandere story in the past, and I'm kind of tired of pretending it's not happening. From contacting my volunteers to work on his game, to changing the model of one of his in-game characters to look suspiciously closely to one of my characters, and on top of that, having a track record of doing this to women in particular who step up his game, I'll speak about some of the stuff that's been going on for a couple of months now. What triggered this video was the May 1 update, where a character named Raibaru changed her appearance. This is Raibaru's old appearance, this is Raibaru's new appearance, and this is Meikawa. While Meikawa, the rival of my game, did have some similarities with Raibaru, I did attempt to make them different. Her hair color is peach and red, unlike Raibaru who is blonde and orange. Raibaru has yellow eyes, Mei has blue eyes. Raibaru had a purple headband and pigtails. Mei has small bow hair pins and two buns that resemble panda ears and puka. As such, she has purse with a panda pin. Here's a screenshot of me saying that I wanted Meikawa to look like she has panda ears in her hair. Despite this, Meikawa's resemblance to Raibaru could still be noticeable. This was an accident, since her color palette was chosen to appear as angelic as possible, and her panda ears hair was exaggerated to give her a more unique silhouette. But I did plan on changing her up a bit.
Removed this part from the recording because it wasn't understandable. What I wanted to say is that these are concepts I had for Mei Kawa before her final concept art. We are still planning on changing it a bit in the near future.
With that said, compare old Raibaru with new Raibaru. The peach hair and eyes are obvious, to the point I actually recorded myself comparing the colors, and yeah, I think it's very clear what's going on. Her eyes are the ones that upset me the most, since I did want Mei to have that difference with Raibaru at least. And the reason he gave was because he wanted to make her different from the Unity assets she was built with. I'm sorry, but if he wanted to make her different, he wouldn't have based Raibaru around the original Unity asset model in the first place, which is very clear he made for marketing first and actual design later, since the videos featuring Raibaru in the Indestructible Rival are the most popular in his channel. And even with that, he had years to change her design to make her more unique. And on top of that, there was already official concept art of her with her old appearance, and all of that volunteer work would go to waste because it no longer represents the current version. In other cases, I would think I'm exaggerating, but Yanderedev has a record for doing this with women projects specifically, and the biggest example I can name is Kalimara. There is already a video of her discussing how Yanderedev plagiarized some of her ideas for Yandere Simulator called Yanderedev Called Me Out. In this video, she mentions how Yanderedev would use very specific wording in one of his videos that reference her video. And in another video called Redesigning a Mayora Yaka, she mentions how Yanderedev posted a fanart made of Osana's redesign by Kalimara and posted it in his blog post just to take it down later.
If you're subscribed to me, then you already know, but if you don't know, Yanderedev actually nabbed fan art of my Osana redesign by the incredible Xylers and posted it on his April 7th blog post. I just find it a bit ironic that I created the redesign to criticize him, but it's just weird that he took fan art literally titled Kalimara's Osana that he also commented on, mind you, and was like, "Oh, for me?" The comment is hidden now, but you can still see the replies of people calling him out. It's just a strange violation, I guess, because it's like getting a present and then someone comes and takes the present and tells everyone it was a present that they got.
And the worst that I don't see anyone call out are these clips from Kalimara's video, The Real Issue with Yandere Simulator. And I'll let the clips speak for themselves.
Ayano should have a journal that lists all of her objectives and thoughts and clarifies the objective a bit more. So with our previous example, the Investigate Osana objective would have a descriptor like, "I don't like how close this girl is with Senpai. She might take him away from me. I should follow her and find more information about her relationship with him.
I should eavesdrop on their conversations. I might be able to learn some valuable information."
So there's a pattern of doing stuff like this, but this wasn't all of it. Yanderedev has attempted to contact my volunteers to work on his game, specifically a girl he wanted to play as a Mai Orejaka. I asked the voice actress if it was okay to share the mail he sent, and she said it would be as long as she was anonymous. This is the email he sent, and it reads as follows. From Yanderedev. Hello, it's been a while since we last spoke. I hope that you've been well. I wanted to ask you if you would still be interested in voicing Amai. As you can see, Yanderedev and this voice actress already spoke before, but she left that project. She asked what she should do since she wanted to charge money for it, and this is what I responded to her. Either he couldn't find a replacement for Amai, or he saw you were here. Either way, I can't say I care all that much for him. I'm more so worried on you getting hurt. You know I support you no matter what role you have, as long as it's not something very bad, obviously. If you want to voice in his game for money, I don't really have a problem with that, but I'd say to be careful and to receive payment first. I was not going to mention this if it wasn't because he made an entire paragraph talking about Amaya Rajaka and how he found the perfect voice for her. The way he emphasizes so much how she is the perfect voice actress and how he was preparing for her big debut is weird. Any voice actress in the game already has a track record of voicing characters in the past. Having a long paragraph emphasizing just how big Amaya is, saying how many girls offered to voice act her while still he was talking to my volunteer to get her voice inside in the game is weird. But that's not even the whole context. Numerous people have commented hate in my videos. Some of them claim I was beating a dead horse who did nothing to me, but that's not entirely true. I want to speak about something else now, something that happened several years ago, and I want to get off my chest. When I first suggested Heartstrings as a game idea to YouTube, I didn't remember much about Yandere Simulator. I remember some videos on the drama, but not him exactly. This changed around in February, when I remember something I wish I didn't, and I made a bent video about it. This is the video. I made the video back in February, and I could only find those emails from Yanderedev. I did have many nightmares after remembering some of the things he said to me, but here's a rundown of what I remember back then. I used to talk to Yanderedev through emails since I was a young kid, starting in March 2016, when I was 13. My birthday is around August and September, if you ask, so yes, I was 13. The first time he replied to one of my emails was in November 2018, when I was 16. Emails would come and go during that year and future years, and this one in particular, he claims he remembers a fan song I made about Yandere Simulator on YouTube about the Light Music Club. The last email I had from him was in July of the same year, just a couple of days later, where I asked he could speak positively about the music of the volunteers I really like at the moment. After this, I remember speaking to him privately on Discord, but I couldn't prove it because I didn't have the messages. Until today, because as it turns out, I was able to recover conversations I had with Yanderedev when I was between the ages of 16 and 17. I thought I had lost the conversations forever, since I closed the DMs after the love letter drama, but I found them logging into my husband's phone.
To give some more context to why I logged into my husband's phone, my phone is currently broken, and Discord on phone has the ability to look up words from every conversation you've ever had in Discord. This does not occur in the desktop Versio.
I will say that if you want to add more into the grooming drama, I honestly would prefer not to. While he did like me calling him cute names such as Babydev and similar, what I went through is not as bad as what happened to Jelly, for example. Still, it is something I want to take out of my chest. I didn't remember these conversations when I started the development of my game, and I would rather be known for my art than just because I'm one more of the bunch. I do believe I was in the process of getting groomed, but I don't think it fully constitutes grooming. With that said, let's begin. The messages start at the 16th of July 2019, where I sent Yanderedev a fanart of himself as a baby. I called it Baby Dev because it sounded cute to me and he said he liked it. So after that, I kept calling Yanderedev the Baby Dev. If you wonder why the user is deleted, it's because this account of Yanderedev was deleted after the groomer allegations came out. The account he uses right now on Discord is a different account from the one he used to speak to me. Here is the evidence of his old username called deleted account from r/Osana. And as I mentioned before, I only recovered these screenshots today on May 1st, 2025. So yes, this used to be his old Discord account. The way I got to Yanderedev's Discord was because I was in the Yandere Simulator official Discord. While I no longer can access it, at some point I remember saying in the Discord server that I was panicking because I sent the server owner, Yanderedev, a friendship request, and he accepted it. That's how the conversations began. Me and Yanderedev would talk often, and he liked when I called him Baby Dev, saying it was cute. I didn't know if I should call him Yanderedev or Alex, since I ignored the drama when I was a kid, to the point I didn't even know his name was actually Alex. He said he didn't like his name because of the drama, and I said I would call him Cute Baby Boy Young Sim Developer from that point, something that he apparently didn't see as weird coming from a high schooler. And he knew I was in school, because he literally helped me do my homework. The homework was writing about a person you admire for an English class, so here are the conversations. I think the most incriminating is this one where he says good luck with school, meaning he did know I was a high schooler. And here is some proof that he was searching artists to make a hate and shame 2 video. My way of talking was also more of a child than an adult, despite being 16 to 17, so there was no missing point there. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will ask me now why I continued making Yandere Simulator videos despite remembering the emails and conversations. The thing is, I attempted to focus only on the development of my own game, but I needed money since we barely get any donations. The easy thing to say is that I should have gotten a job, or at least my husband should have. But in Chile, immigrants like my husband cannot take jobs unless they have a full permanent residence permit. And my husband only has a temporary residence in process, meaning he doesn't even have the national identification card required for most contracts. On top of that, my husband is usually the prime victim of physical violence. During March, I posted this message in the Discord server, and I want to give a bit more context. Pinkat, or PC for short, who is my husband, went out to buy some food at the local Walmart. He was cornered by security guards, pushed into a separate room, and threatened with violence and deportation just because he dared to walk without a white shielding companion. Pinkat didn't even tell me he was physically hit too until later, and even worse, the boss of the security guards also continued to shame him for being an immigrant for around an hour. He said he was fine, but every time we enter another Walmart, he looks at the guards in fear, expecting to be abused again. This is the reality that dark-skinned people suffer on a daily basis, and even now he still asks me to go together every time we go shopping. If I can't trust he won't be beaten up if he enters a Walmart, how can I trust he won't be beaten up at work? But that's Pinkat. What about me? Through this, I've had jobs before, 2 under contract and a bunch of freelance ones. My experience was not good, and one of the jobs was described in the video, The Game That Saved Me. And a lot of the comments describe what I experienced could be considered a cult. There's a lot of other things that happened to me in that job, but I prefer to not get into too much detail since it still hurts. The second job I got was a part-time janitor, and to explain how I was treated there, I could only describe it as condescending abuse hell. My supervisor would constantly get screamed at by her own supervisor through the phone. My co-workers would treat me as a baby and would constantly baby me or be extremely condescending to me just because I was younger than them. I would be followed home at night by male co-workers who would touch my hair and begin conversations with me, even going to the same bus I was and trying to touch my neck or my face. There was almost no way to eat during work hours because the vending machines were broken. I paid for my own lunch, which would usually take away half of my salary. We only had 10 minutes of rest in the entirety of the day, and by rest hours, I mean sitting down, because sitting down was also considered resting, and if the supervisor saw you sitting down for little more than 10 minutes, they would count it as if you were resting for a whole hour and taking money from your salary. This included having panic attacks. And did I mention that the entire time I was working, I was forced to stand for 6 hours with a 10-minute break, and by break I mean sitting down, while I suffered from flat feet, meaning that standing up was even more painful for me. Needless to say, I quit after 3 months, when my contract ran out. After that, my freelance work was either too little to be useful, or the pays were delayed, or they paid me less because of PayPal commissions I refused to pay, etc. On top of that, finding a job by itself is hard because I have autism, and sadly, my autism is very noticeable by the way I speak, walk, or my general understanding of double meaning. Most jobs I've tried to apply to didn't respond back, and the ones that did would either cut me off when I said I had autism or when I said I had an immigrant husband. And yes, we did attempt to go to the law for discrimination, but they told us they couldn't help me because the only way they could help a woman was if she was reporting relationship abuse, not work abuse. Prosecutor's office takes forever to accept any kind of claim, and if you go to somewhere more private to do it for you like a lawyer, they'll ask for an insane amount of money that we don't have because we barely survive ourselves. In this position, what was I supposed to do? In my eyes, I did the most logical thing, which was to make Yandere Simulator content because it brings views and brings money. But at some point, I couldn't do it anymore. You may notice in a lot of videos I upload talking about Yanderedev himself and focus only in Yandere Simulator. And that's because being cold and seeing it in the most analytical point of view was the best way for me to make content that could provide for us. But I'm not sure if I can do that anymore. I want to try to make content about my game and my project, and I want to try and focus on that mostly. Pinkat and I have some ideas that we want to do. For example, a bakery where I can cook my kekes and sell them. But we're not really sure. We're not really sure about anything relating to money, honestly. I will still try to make content for YouTube and still try to monetize it, but it's a very hard road. And for now, I'll just try to keep it together and keep making content and just trying to move forward, I suppose. I just wanted to get that off my chest, and I suppose I will just leave the video here. Remember to drink water, and see you in the next one. Bye.